Hey there, it's Derek here from Pacific Coast Auto in Japan, and actually in the port of Japan. Have a look. Now, we don't usually shoot our reports down here. There's the vessel that the vehicles go on. It's quite cool to actually be down here, but we shot the report for this and had the microphone turned off, so we get to have a second report at the port, which is fun, but also more work, but also fun. Now, this one here is the 2010 Porsche Cayenne Turbo. 4.8 liter twin turbo, 500 horsepower car. Hood damper doesn't work, by the way. And we'll just take a look at the condition of this vehicle that we bought for export. This one's going over to the Netherlands, which we actually sell a decent amount of cars there. Seems like importing from Japan is very popular over there. And must say, all of our customers from there have been wonderful to work with. So maybe I'm going to need to go to the Netherlands sometime. I have this image that everyone there is a perfect human being. Okay, the key looks like a Cayenne, which is kind of fun. And of course it's on the left side. Whoops, put that in backwards. On the left side of the steering wheel, Porsche style. Okay, well, so we'll start the review here by looking at the auction inspection sheet, and I'll quickly translate this from Japanese into English here. This is a 2010 model, so this is the second generation, but the first year of that. And it's a Porsche Cayenne Turbo, which is not the highest. I think there's a Turbo S with a little bit more power. But the Turbo is the kind of your standard version, most powerful ones before you get into the special model ones. This is an auction grade 4 with an interior B and 108,201 kilometers. For Japan, that's a little on the high side for a vehicle like this, but certainly for the rest of the world, that wouldn't be considered high at all. Automatic transmission, of course, that was the only transmission available. Actually, the first generation of the Cayenne was available with a manual, which is very cool, but I don't think the second generation is on. This one has power steering, power windows, sunroof, leather, airbag. Comes with warranty papers and owner's manual. You didn't see it because I closed the hood ahead of time, but there's a whole line of Porsche stickers here, all servicing done at the Porsche Center, which is really nice to see. The seller didn't mention anything about that, but it's a nice little bonus. You buy the car and you get a nice surprise like that sometimes. So the sales points here from the seller, this is a left-hand drive. Yes, we're in Japan. Japan is a right-hand drive market, but a lot of, especially German cars, are available in both left or right-hand drive. And the left-hand drive ones tend to be a little bit more expensive and more sought after, especially because, for one, they're seen as a little bit more luxury here in Japan to have the opposite side steering, but also they're popular for export for markets like much of Europe. This is 21-inch wheels. You can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I believe that these are part of a sports package. So 21-inch wheels on this, and I think they're a little bit more snazzy than you usually get on this version of the Cayenne. It also has what appears to be the sports seats and sports exhaust. So I don't think the seller mentioned anything about that, but that's what I believe that it has. Aftermarket Navi and TV. It actually has rear TVs on the headrests. Again, not mentioned. Reverse camera on here and sunroof. It's true. Okay, comes with warranty papers and owner's manual, and then the report here from the auction inspector. So it says, and my take on this car is a very, very good condition inside out. So I'll talk to you about the issues that are here, and I'll show them to you, and then we can look at them in detail. So exterior has very small scratches, small dents, and the wheels have scratches. The wheels are actually, most of them have a scratch about 10 centimeters or so. That's pretty light. This one here on the driver's side has a large one that starts here and it goes all the way around to there. It's not the hugest scratch in the world. It's not very deep, so you might be able to polish some of that out, but it is a scratch on the wheel. You also have some chipped paint in here. But look at those brakes. These Cayennes, one of my favorite SUVs to drive, must say, and the big brakes are a part of that. Okay, so it says interior dirty, but it's really not that dirty, and it says wear, but there's not that much wear. Maybe some very minor, just regular wear and tear, but maybe even light wear and tear. It says windshield rock chip, which is nothing I normally worry about. They're usually smaller than 1 millimeter and can be really hard to find, especially when the windshield's dirty. Here you go. There's your windshield rock chip. And there might be other ones the same size. There are some rock chips on the front end of the car too. Okay, so here are the problems that the inspector said. The dashboard part of it comes up and peels off. You can see it a little bit through the windshield, but I'll show you when we get to the interior. It is one of the issues in the car. Maybe the biggest one. The driver's side power window switch is cracked and a part's missing, so it doesn't work. Seat is saggy and oil leak. It also says the tonneau cover is missing. And you take a look at the body here. The body has various scratches and dents, but everything is very minor. Okay, now they said oil leak. Last time I shot the car, couldn't notice any oil leak. There's nothing wet underneath. Couldn't even see any dampness around the valve covers in the regular places inside the engine room that an oil leak is going to happen. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. I'll take you for a tour here around the outside so that you can see it. I feel like the second generation here is much cleaner than the first generation. And that exhaust, it looks like an OEM exhaust. And so I think it's just the sports exhaust, but it is fairly nice sounding. Nice sounding is maybe loud, but it's good. It'll let people know that it's the turbo version coming. And yes, 500 horsepower. Pretty nice in a car of this size. It's not a small car. It's fairly heavy. 500 is not a small number either. Okay, so let's have a look here at details now. I really like what they did to the headlights with a more intricate inside. These ones are nice and clear and haven't faded yet like you'll often find. The badge on here has a little bit of discoloration. A badge is a badge and can be replaced if you need it to. Got a little bit of fade on the fog lamp right here. And then the front end has a number of small rock chips. Each one by themselves is fairly minor, and most of them have been touched up with a touch-up paint. But because there are several of them, it is a noticeable defect on the car. And then this side here basically doesn't have any. It has nice big intakes. You get a huge, huge oil cooler right here. And you look in this one over here, and another huge oil cooler. And I don't know exactly how those are plumbed, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was one oil cooler on each side and it cooled the oil either before or after they come out of the turbos. Going down the side here, it's looking great. You can see the condition of the paint is good. And the vehicle's been here in Japan for a while, hasn't been cleaned in a while. And because the car has been, polished or ceramic coated, polymer coated, it's holding up well. You take a look at some of the other cars. We really shouldn't be doing this, but they are rather dirty in comparison to this one. It's good to see. It means that the car was probably parked indoors where the exterior finish was kept away from the sun and is still very effective. Okay, so exterior wise, there's really only one other thing that I need to mention. Is a little scuff on the left rear. So I'll show you that now. Okay, right there. So there's a scuff and it's about that large. Okay. And yes, let me not forget, this is turned cloudy. You should be able to clean that back up. So going into the interior now, we'll start with the trunk. The trunk on these is nice and large. They use the same platform as the Audi Q8, which is a 3-row. And so it is a vehicle that has enough room for 3 rows of seats, but only has 2. And so that gives you a nice large area in the back here. Very nice detailing here. A little bit of scratches on it. Very Volkswagen feeling, actually. This area here with this section and this. Yeah, it is a very nice Volkswagen. Bose sound there, so it looks like you get a subwoofer instead of a spare tire, but that would mean that you're running run-flat tires. You have a tire puncture repair kit there that comes with it. Of course, these seats can fold down flat so that you can put more stuff in here. You can have a quick look at the back and see those monitors in the headrests. They're not actually in the headrests, they're attached to the headrests. Close this up. We'll go to the next section of the interior. And there was water caught in the door somehow. That's weird. But yeah, good detailing on the door card. Being inside this car does feel more special than the first generation, which I felt were a little on the cheap side. Okay, so you can see very nicely contoured seats there. And they are, of course, leather seats, the only kind of seat that you can get in this car. A decent amount of room. It's not super spacious, but absolutely 4 adults can sit in this. You could do 5 adults if you want, but that person is going to have to be skinny butt. Cup holders in there. It's really nice to have the cup holders in the center pillow as an option. Cup holders are sometimes put down here or sometimes just in the door. This one does have them in the door as well. What's this? Some sort of like a silicone spray or something. It's weird. Oily. Anyway, you can see how these are attached. It's a pretty high quality unit by the looks of it. And nice to have that as a surprise. If you don't want it, of course, you can get rid of it, maybe sell it. If you do want it, it can be a nice sales point if you're going to be selling the car on, like most of our customers are doing with these imports. Heated seats in the rear here, which is great, and a nice clean headliner that is not saggy at all. That is a little bit of an issue here in Japan with the saggy headliner. Okay, let's head into the front of the car now, and I'll show you those seats. We have a dude that works with us named Max. He used to work for Porsche. He said that he thought that these are the optional sports seats, and so I'm going to go with that. I think it is as well. I don't have a ton of experience with this generation of the Cayenne, so I don't recall on the top of my head what the seats are supposed to look like, but I believe that these ones are quite heavily bolstered. Like that bolster is 20 centimeters deep, and the one on the bottom is fairly deep as well. You have a little bit of cracking, or not so much cracking, but discoloration in the wrinkles that you'll normally get in leather seats. Leather is a great durable material. It doesn't absorb stains or anything like that, but it does need to be conditioned regularly or it's going to do that. But conditioning it is not that much of a problem. You can re-dye. Black is easy to re-dye and then condition to make it all nice again. And so it all looks like this, matte, instead of like this, shiny. Okay, look at this. So I'm just going to show you the console section here and the additional monitor that's been put in. Now the Cayenne has these little hold-on things. I've never seen this before, but look at this. There's a little insert. Maybe you can buy this from Porsche. But that insert goes in here. And now you can store things like a phone inside those. There's one here and one there. Kind of a clever idea. If it isn't a Porsche item, I think that it's amazing that it exists. A couple of cup holders here, cigarette lighter, no ashtray. Console here is decently deep. Actually, it's kind of small. Never mind. The console is kind of small. Has a cigarette lighter adapter in there. And what's this? Oh my gosh, I found your ashtray. That was an unfortunate thing for me to do. Okay. For 2 reasons. Like, I don't like having someone's ashes on my hands because I think that's gross. But now your car has kind of ashes in there that need to be vacuumed out when you receive it. I'm going to close that and forget it ever happened. So a little bit of wear in this section here, a little bit on here. Shift's fine. Has air suspension, and you can set a height, and you actually get like 10 centimeters, maybe even more, 12 centimeters of actuation between the lowest height and the highest height. It's currently on the mid height. And then normal, comfort, and sport suspension. Okay, your regular traction control and everything, heated seats, air vents. I love the way that Porsche does this. Porsche does this with the air vents. You can choose in your face, or feet, or windshield, or any combination of them. So you can do windshield and feet at the same time, or windshield and face, or face and feet, or just feet. It's awesome. And then dual zones, left and right, are different from one another. Okay, problem with the dashboard being all pulley-uppy style. Here it is right here. You can see how it's supposed to be and how it is here. It's the problem with the real leather-wrapped dashboard is because leather tends to shrink when it is hot, and it gets very, very hot here in Japan. Hot and humid. It's an aftermarket screen that's been put on. The AC works nice and well. Everything mechanically appears to work well. That said, let me just make sure I'm not speaking too fast. The mechanical parts are good. The brakes feel a little on the sinky side. If you pulled your foot on the brakes firmly, you'll feel it very slightly go down. We're talking like 2 millimeters or so. But it doesn't feel normal, so check into that. Also, a little bit of engine shake when you rev it up, like vroom, vroom. You get a little bit of a wiggle right at the top of the RPM. It'll go up and then wiggle and then go down. Okay, no smell of cigarettes inside here, even though we know now. Is that, maybe it's not ashtray. Maybe it's an air purifier. It doesn't smell like cigarette ash, but it is weird. Something weird's in there. Go investigate. Okay. I have 2 more reports to shoot because it was the whole day that I turned the camera mic off, which I regret. But it's fun to see the cars at the port, is it not? So I gotta go shoot 2 more cars like that at different ports too. So I'm gonna go travel over there now. That's going to be the end of this one. Hope you enjoyed the walk around. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Make sure you check our website out. There's a link to that in the description. And you can send us an email from there if you want to make sure that you get a response. Otherwise, you can post in the comments section and we will get back to those if we can. But we do have a lot of regular inquiries and that's the best way to get a hold of us. So anyway, thank you so much for watching and have a nice day.